following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Sitting down and designing, where every man in my thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't test me. Big up the girls inside the party, let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself, the known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
British, I'm yo, what I wanna be. Jimmy Star, new celebrity.
We'll take you out to Jimmy Star's.
Hey ho, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, bringing you the good times in music, fashion, pop culture, and entertainment. We got a fantastic show for you guys today. Two amazing guests, starting off with the Hollywood Godfather, Gianni Russo, and then we have Sam Jones, a.k.a. Flash Gordon himself, coming on. So two big celebrities with great accomplishments and very interesting stories, and we're going to have a blast. Before we get started with anything, let's just say hi real quick to whoever the hell this is.
Don't fool around with me, fatso, because you ain't going to go nowhere but in the next bridge we build, all right? You understand me? Don't fool around with me. I ain't got no patience for this kind of stuff. Forget about it, because I'm going to be like crazy today. You know? Hey, talk nice to me or else you're dead. Don't fool.
And there's Astro.
What?
Trying to figure out who you are.
This is my dog, Astro. He's the only thing I trust. I don't trust nobody. He goes, because they all are squealers. They all get you in the end. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk nothing to nobody.
They say you look like a mobster.
What?
What's up, chat room? Hey, everybody in the chat room. The chat room's starting to fill up. Yes, Ron looks like a mobster.
And he looks like a fag. He talks like a faggot, too. Talks like a girl. You talk like a sissy fag.
Oh, yeah.
If you came to Brooklyn, we knocked the shit out of you. We beat you all over the street. We don't like those sissy fairy men.
We want to say hi in the chat room. We've got Cindy Lady Lake in the chat room.
Oh, Cindy Lady Lake, I heard she puts out. You know, yeah, I heard she's a real good turn.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Lady Lake, I heard the name. Lady Lake, I saw it in Macy's on the bathroom wall. I was sitting there and it says, if you want a good time, call Lady Lake. If it's the same Lady Lake.
You're going to get upset. You're going to upset people.
No, I'm not. I don't know. Maybe it's not the same Lady Lake. It's a different Lady Lake. There's a lot of lakes in the world, you know.
Boomer's in there, too. What's up, Boomer? Boomer Mays, the football player's in there.
Boomer, where's your ball?
JB from Russia. So the chat room's starting to fill up, you guys. We really do have an exciting show for you guys today.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Get rid of all that now. It's time to be done.
Why? I got to meet the guest. I got to talk to him. What are you talking about?
He's not coming on for a couple of minutes.
When is he coming on? What, did he run away already? He's afraid? I know he's a scaredy cat.
Oh, yeah, right. Anyway, all right. So, you guys, we got a really good show for you guys today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we start bringing anybody on and talking, we want to tell everybody where you can listen to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. We're on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Prime. Lots of great outlets. We want to thank everybody who tuned in last week because we had a great response
We're
to
like
last week's show.
diarrhea. We go all over. We spread like diarrhea. You know how diarrhea goes all over? That's what he's diarrhea. What are you talking about?
All over. And this show, the promos for this show got tons of hits. Everybody's really looking forward to both the guests that we have coming on today.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fast.
All he does is yap. Yeah, talk. That's all you do is talk.
The dog doesn't know what to do with you. Say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Astro doesn't understand me. Hi, Astro, kissing me.
Say hi to everybody in the chat room.
That's the only one I like to make out with.
Say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Who, me?
Yes.
What am I going to say hello to the chat room? I give a shit about the people in the chat room. I have them all killed tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what do I care? Chat room. Give me a break with chat room. I want to go into a pool hall room or a gambling room where there's cards, you know what I'm saying? So we could play cards and I could win a couple of dollars. But chat room? What's a chat room? A bunch of people in there listening Eavesdropping, snooping on me. Oh, yeah? Well, you see what you're going to get if you snoop on me, baby.
They love Astro, though.
Well, yes, I don't know who the hell I am. I don't know either. But this is who I play when I work in the movies. You know, I always play a wise guy, a tough guy from Brooklyn, because it's very easy for me to have my Brooklyn accent whenever I want it.
It sounds a little bit too much.
No, it's not too much. You've never been around wise guys, faggot. This is how we talk, big sissy Mary girl, bottom bitch. This is how we talk, all right? We talk about like this, you know, don't mess with me, forget about it, you're going to get it, don't talk, don't go, don't do. Just be a nice guy, sit there like a little fairy and do your thing.
Anyway.
Look at him with a beard. He thinks he's going to fool everybody. He puts a beard on so people don't know he's a big girl.
Anyway,
He just
so
hit me to shut up. See, this one's going to get knocked off. Oh, yeah, this one, after the show, this one's going to be in the next bridge they build, yeah.
So before we bring on our first guest, you guys, we're going to play a quick little video. Many of you know Gianni Russo. He's been in tons of films, and one of the films that he's extremely well known for is The Godfather, where he plays Carlo Rizzi, Don Corleone's wife and wife-beating son-in-law, actually.
Yeah.
And so here we got a quick little video we're going to play, and then we're going to bring him on. This is Carlo Rizzi's death from The Godfather. Enjoy, everybody.
We're finished. I'm putting you on a plane to Vegas. Tom? I want you to stay there. You understand? Only don't tell me you're innocent. Because it insults my intelligence. It makes me very angry. Now, who approached you? Tartaglia or Barzini?
It was Barzini.
Good. There's a car waiting for you outside. Take you to the airport. I'll call your wife. Tell her what flight you're on. Come on, get out of my sight.
Hello, Carlo.
Yay! What's up, everybody? So that was Carlo Rizzi getting killed in The Godfather, and the man who portrayed him is getting ready to come on. Let's make sure we can hear him, and then I'll make an introduction and bring him on in.
Can
Hey,
you hear me?
now you're alive. We just saw you die, but now you're alive.
52 years ago that was. I can't believe it. 52 years ago.
If you mess with the boys, you get it. We got it. What's the big deal? Move on. Who's this guy, Johnny Russo, anyway?
All right, we're going to
What's it
introduce
all about?
him. All
Who
right,
are
everybody.
you?
Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, actor, author, crooner, entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Gianni Russo.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. Before we do anything,
Just make sure you send a $40,000 check to me for being on the show. All right?
Yeah, you can play handball with it when you get it.
Knock that check out to Rocco. Rocco, that's me.
all right. So this is my cool, outrageous man about town, Ron Russell, co-host. Say hi, Ron. Not you. Get rid of your character now. It's time to go to normal.
I like being like this, you know, because Johnny Russo is supposed to be a big shot, wise guy. I don't know. I got to find out now and interview her.
So say hi normally. There you go.
Hi, Johnny Russo. Thank you for coming on the show and for letting me fool around and have some fun with it. I like to make fun of the so-called mafia that doesn't exist, but of course people love the word. The word was invented by the press, you know. The mafia never called themselves the mafia. The news did. So there's no such thing as the mafia.
Yeah, right.
Right, Johnny Russo?
I don't know what book you're reading, but that's okay.
Johnny, you know, I've listen, we always had a lot of fun with this when I used to go back to Brooklyn. We go to an Italian restaurant, all the guys would get around, and I would say to them, gee, I'm glad there's no such thing as the mafia.
Well, J. Edgar Hoover said that for a long time, if you remember.
Yeah, that was
Absolutely.
that was a joke years ago. They used to say that.
So before we go anywhere, I have to first of all, say hi to everybody in the chat room. The chat room's filling up, so say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Hi, everybody in the chat room. Thank you for coming in, or they were all tuning in on Zoom or what? How
They go on YouTube, so this is live on
Oh, wow.
YouTube. So they're watching on YouTube, and then people are listening all over the place.
And before we go any further, and Johnny, I never blow smoke up anybody's ass, so don't think I'm full of shit in what I'm going to say to you. You're 80 years old. You look goddamn well. You're still a handsome man. And you were gorgeous in that Godfather movie. Jesus Christ, what a handsome young fella. But then weren't we all? I didn't look like this pile of shit when I was young either. I mean, now I got like a decrepit old man.
So before we go anywhere,
you're a good-looking guy. Wait a minute.
No, I've got to do something.
You still have the broads coming after you?
I'm doing well yet. Yeah, you know.
I mean, like if you go to a club, I bet you all the women jump all over you.
Well, most of the clubs I'm in now, I'm playing at. You know, I'm doing a lot of singing yet, fortunately. And
Right.
So with that, in fact, I just turned the book into a musical as a one-man show. It's doing really well.
Wait, which book?
Hollywood Godfather.
Yeah, that's pretty. All right, so we'll talk about that. We're going to bring that up in a sec. Before we do that, though, because Eileen's got to work, but she wants me to make sure I say so. Eileen Shapiro, who actually helped set this whole thing up and is my business partner, she wants me to make sure I say hello to you and that she's listening, but she's not in the chat room because she's working. So say hi to Eileen.
Eileen, thank you. She's been great, though. I just met her a couple of weeks ago, man. She really is a networker.
Absolutely,
She's
yes.
terrific.
She's terrific.
And she's got the biggest pair of tits you ever saw in your life. But listen,
You made him famous.
I've watched you on YouTube about 4 or 5 shows, so I know all about you from the YouTube. Everybody, go to YouTube and look up Johnny Russo. You're going to freak out. No, he talks about Marilyn Monroe. He talks about murdering somebody. He talks about his life when he was young. These videos on YouTube are sensational.
Wait. So you're not telling it correctly. So Johnny Russo, you guys,
Of course
has his
I
own
have.
podcast. He's the host of Hollywood Godfather. It's a podcast. Everybody can tune in on YouTube now and listen to it.
He's also on YouTube. You see, you don't know what you're talking
I do
about.
too. This is a YouTube podcast. I just said it.
No, he's on YouTube being interviewed by a million
Oh, well, he
people.
gets lots of interviews.
He's all
too.
over the fucking place.
That's true
I mean,
too.
he's on everything on YouTube.
Thank God.
No, really. No, just go to YouTube and look up Johnny Russo. You'll be there for a month looking at all of the videos on him.
So he also, you guys just said that he's just said that he's always on stage. So he's got several CDs that are out that you guys can get. He's done. I actually wrote some of them down. So let's see. So CD Reflections, an homage to Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra, A Man Alone and Live at Feinstein's. So you still work. You still have a voice then. Your voice still works.
Oh, my verse is doing really well right now. I'm in great shape for my age because of the fact I take care of myself. I walk 2 or 3 miles a day. I eat well, and I still weigh 155. That's all of
There
that.
you go.
I do the same thing. That's why I'm still alive, and I look well also. You made love to Marilyn Monroe.
Not really. You know, we both, I don't want to confuse anybody. Marilyn and I had a tremendous relationship. We both had a situation when we were 12 years old. She was put into a foster home at 12. I was in Bellevue until I was 12. I was there for 5 years with polio in 1949. And when we first met, we just wanted a genuine hug, and we became friends before anything. But Marilyn had this thing with her, giving her body to most people. And it was wild when my career kept going on, like with Tony Curtis and Marlon Brando, like you said, and Sinatra. They all been with her for that reason. She feels that's all she had to give. And it was sad, really, how they took advantage of her, basically.
Tony Curtis and I were really pretty good friends. And in private, of course, I asked Tony about Marilyn. Tony had sex with Marilyn many, many times. In fact, he got her pregnant once. And I said to Tony, what was she like in bed? He said she was very oral. He said she'd like to give head more than get laid because she had problem with her vagina for some reason. It didn't work or it hurt her or whatever. So everybody that thought about Marilyn Monroe as the ultimate bang, forget it, boys. She was just a girl that was a victim of men who used her. And
You did.
and Tony Curtis told me that she was on her knees all the time, and she really got used. Beautiful Marilyn Monroe. I don't think Frank Sinatra ever had sex with her, according to Frank. He loved her as a friend.
Yeah, I mean, Frank, as you just said, respected. I got to know. It's funny because going through my life, like you mentioned, Tony Curtis. I did a movie with Tony Curtis called Lepke. He played Louis Buchholz, and I played Albert Anastasia, which I thought was very funny at the time because
Right,
Tony Anastasia is my godfather for confirmation, his brother.
right, right.
It's all these things. And I met Tony Curtis as a kid when I was 12 or 13, because I used to go to New York Paramount at night to sleep. It was either St. Patrick's Cathedral, it was open 24 hours a day, or the Paramount. And I saw Some Like It Hot maybe 20 times. And they were all in it together. And that's my introduction to Marilyn, even. But it's funny how life just keeps imitating what we really do and don't do.
Well, I was best friends with Jane Russell for years and years. We were like brother and sister. In fact, I took her name. My name is Serego. It's not Russell. But back in my day, ethnic names didn't work. So I became Ron Russell. And Jane and I spoke often about Marilyn and about Marilyn when she worked on A Gentleman Prefer Blondes with Jane.
Right.
And Jane said that war that they made, that fight between them was a lie. The press did it just for publicity. That Marilyn was a very, very shy, intimidated little girl who was gullible, but yet very shrewd. So I don't know how you can have all those emotions in one person without being crazy. And Jane Russell said to me, yes, Marilyn Monroe was murdered by the Kennedys.
Oh, no.
Absolutely, she was murdered. She
Well,
never.
It's funny because when I wrote my book in 95, the publishers didn't want to print it. I indemnified them. And now with the new Netflix thing about Marilyn this
Right.
July, they confirmed everything I wrote in 95 about Robert Kennedy. And even Peter Lawford was there driving around LA. You can't be an attorney general and go into a state and think nobody's going to know you were there.
Right.
Crazy.
So poor Marilyn, she came to a bitter end because she fooled around with the wrong people. Now, people said the mafia. The mafia is a group of Italian people who came to this country and were treated very poorly. So they organized a thing called the Black Hand, of which my great uncle was a member of the Black Hand. He used to supply all the linens. His name was Vincenzo Vincenzani, and he used to supply all the linens to all the restaurants in New York City. And if you didn't use him, they'd blow up your store. Well, that's how they worked it. Well,
That's
that
how
was
they did it. It was leverage.
well, hey, Johnny, this is back in 1893. I'm going back. I'm an old bag, and my great uncle was old. Anyway, Vincenzo Vincenzani was a tough guy, and he was with the Black Hand. Italians had to do that because the Irish and the German wouldn't let the Italians work, and they wouldn't give them a place to live. And they came here as immigrants without knowing the language and were poorly treated. I know a lot of so-called mafia people. They are the most reliable, nicest people you want to know. If you're good and you're a good friend, they will treat you well. If you're a rat, a no good son of a bitch, that's another story. But saying that the government is the mafia, the Kennedys were mafia. Kennedy's father was a mafioso. Joe Kennedy was a big mafia guy. Talk about it.
He was partners with Frank Costello during Prohibition. They did $30 million each during the 30s. They still own buildings in New York. You see behind me, there's a dining room table. It's 16 people. It sits around in a chair. Frank Costello, when he died, left me this apartment. This was a wire room in New York. I used to come here as a kid. My bedroom had 20 phone riders in it with a blackboard. And I used to come here and sleep. And then he said, he said, why don't you just stay uptown? Because one day it was a big snowstorm. We were at the Copa closing up.
Right.
And he said, go, they never used the street number that I live on. It was the address on the street. He said, go to 223. You have a key. Because we had keys. We weren't right in the lobby because I'm bringing up money and picking up money. And the only reason he gave me a job, he felt sorry for me, and he happened to know my uncle in Sicily, Angelo Russo, who was responsible for a lot of these guys coming over earlier in the day before. Costello was a kid when he got here, but he knew Angelo Russo in Sicily, who was my great uncle on my father's side. But I've heard all these stories, and like you, they came here for a purpose. Then it got, the money got involved and drugs got involved. And that's why a lot of the old timers didn't want to get involved with drugs.
That's right.
Because they knew it was going to, everybody's going to turn their way and the money's going to be the power, and that's it.
So two things.
Wait. The people I knew did not do drugs. If you did drugs, you were in big trouble. They did loan sharking and gambling. That's it.
Exactly.
Well, no prostitution either. Just loan sharking and gambling. And
there's one scene in
what's Las Vegas? Las Vegas is all what? Gambling and loan sharking. So what's the big deal?
Well, now it's not even that. It's corporation.
No, now it's Disneyland, a bunch of baby carriages and weirdos.
It's crazy.
So I read in your thing that you started in organized crime as an errand boy for Frank Costello.
That's exactly right. No, he found me in front of the Sherry Netherlands Hotel. Ballpoint pens just came out. And I used to go with my grandfather, Leo Rabinowitz's store on Delancey Street. And this one time I remember my grandfather was getting pads and pencils for the club. And Leo Rabinowitz was so happy about ballpoint pens. Look, Vito, he said, you don't need inkwells anymore. It holds its own. And he was so excited. My grandfather just walked out. The next day I went back because I told him, I said, I'm impressed with these pens. Give me a couple of pens. I give nothing to no one. I said, let me correct myself then. Lend me 50 pens. I'm going to go all around the neighborhood and sell them. Everybody wants these pens because it was a problem having a pen years ago. You had to have ink. You had to have this.
Yeah.
And with that said, I exhausted the neighborhood. I went uptown. And sure enough, here comes Frank Costello every day. I used to stop at the Sherry Netherlands to get shoe shine. I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know anything about it. And then he'd come out and give me words of wisdom. Never took a pen. Give me $5, $10. That's like $100 bill then. And then he asked my name one day, and I said it. And
my next question.
Hang on, wait, let him finish.
I'm sorry,
because I'm not done. Yeah, because I'm not done. So wait 1 second.
No, that's. I mean.
Okay. So, is yours on that topic?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Now I forgot what I was going to say. So that's what happens when you get to be 82 years old. You forget everything.
No, because I want to tie it into TV a little bit because in the chat room they're asking me what you thought of your portrayal in The Offer. Of the portrayal of you in The Offer. We have not seen it yet. We need to watch it. Right. The Offer is like the making of The Godfather.
I have not seen it. I will not see it. People have called me on it. I can't believe it. I don't know why they did this to me after 50 years of a great movie. The Offer has scenes in it that never happened. I mean, it's crazy. And there's even scenes saying that I beat up Talia Shire. Now, Talia Shire's mother and father were on the set. Her brother is Francis Ford Coppola.
Well, yes.
He's going to allow me to beat up his sister. I mean, it's so stupid.
Oh, well, let's not go there.
Oh, no, that's good to tell everybody, though.
Wait. We just, last week we were in court, okay? Some nut said that I punched him in the back of the head at an interview. Could you believe this? Me, with my reputation. People come out of the woodwork to sue you or to lie.
No, they weren't suing. They weren't suing me. The Offer exaggerated everything about me in that movie, calling me a punk and everything else.
Oh, I got called worse than you.
Oh, wait, I want to let everybody know that. So everybody listening, from the words of the mouth of Gianni Russo, like the shit's bullshit. The Offer is bullshit. And we haven't seen it. Like everybody asked us about it. And we know several, through Ron of people he knows and through some other people we
No,
know
who
a
we
lot
know-
of the people.
You know what? I would like you to clear up a little mystery for me, okay?
Please.
We have a friend who claims to be the son of
illegitimate son of Albert Anastasia.
Anastasia.
I heard about this kid. I don't know him. I mean, so I couldn't.
He's a kid. He's as old as we are. He's no kid anymore.
He's
Oh,
83.
yeah, he wouldn't be. Well, his father is 170.
Yeah. Anyway, he claims to be. So some people say he's full of crap. Some people.
But he also told us that it was the mob who got him into all, because he's in like huge movies, Superman, King Kong, like all these like huge movies with good
we
roles.
could use his name.
Oh yes, Jack O'Halloran.
Jack O'Halloran. He's a good friend of ours. Jack is a good guy.
And he even wrote a book that they're making into like a movie,
Right.
about it.
He talks about the mob and what went on years ago. One question, Johnny: is the mob around? Does it still exist?
Well, I just came from Sicily. I'm doing a world tour because of the 50th anniversary. And I have relatives that's still there. So I know they're still around. I don't know if they're as open as they used to be. They finally went back to their old tradition and keep your mouth shut and be unknown. It was a private organization.
Right. But Brooklyn is no longer the Italian mafia. It is Russian.
Oh, my God.
The Russians have taken Brooklyn over, and they are the worst mafia of all because they'll kill children and mothers and fathers. They don't give a shit. At least
There's so many gangs now, Spanish, Albanian. There's everything out there now. Forget
yeah.
it.
I mean, even
Forget about it, he said. Damn, say that again. I like that.
we all say
No,
it.
I mean, I use it all the time. Forget about it. You know.
I go, you know what? That's so Brooklyn. People laugh at me when I say forget about it because it has an Italian accent to it. Forget about it.
So
I say it to my grandchildren a lot.
Forget about it. I tell Jimmy all the time, forget about it. What are you going?
So I also read in your book. So I think Frank Sinatra is one of your children's godparent.
Luciano, yeah, my son Luciano.
Luciano's godparent, and that they didn't. Who's the guy from the?
Who?
Who's the guy that Lorraine Landon's
Oh.
was married to? Brandon. And Marlon Brando didn't want you in The Godfather. That you had a problem with Marlon Brando on the set of The Godfather. They didn't want you.
Well, early on, I had a problem with everybody because, how I got the part was through Joe Colombo. I was not an actor. I never acted in my life.
Yeah, they didn't want to act with you.
Yeah, they didn't want to act with me.
They were afraid you were going to blow the scene.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was, and I can understand it now, digesting it. But what happened for me? My life is always it starts off negative and turn it around. The fact that I was not an actor when Dick Smith was making the transformation for him to become the Godfather, it took 3 hours. Dick Smith was his personal makeup guy, and what happened? We had a rehearsal up in 119th Street, which I used to go there all the time, bringing overnight loans to the Genovese family. They had zig and egg games and everything. That's all I was doing, running around. And I was up there that afternoon, and they said to me, "What are you doing here?" I mean, Fat Tony Salerno, Tony Genovese. I mean, you name guys, real guys. And they said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm here for the rehearsal." They said, "For what?" I said, "The Godfather." I said, "Get out of here. You're not an actor." And all the actors were coming in. That's where they had the rehearsal. That's the only reason I was there. It was 119th Street at 3:00 in the afternoon. And and before we were allowed to meet Marlon Brando, everybody was there, the whole cast. And we were going to have a table read. And Coppola said, "We're going to have food served. We want you for the Italians to exaggerate your mannerisms and your speech because all the non-Italians have a week to become an Italian." Like, Marlon Brando was Polish. Jimmy Kahn was Jewish. They didn't know. So the first break, Brando came over to me and he said, "You have a big TV movie coming out." I said, "No." He said, "Well, you got a big movie coming in theaters?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, you're not on Broadway. I know everybody on Broadway." I said, "You're right again. What's this, a quiz show?" So he says to me, "Who'd you study with?" I said, "What are you talking about? Study what?" So he called Francis Coppola over. He says, "Francis, this guy's playing my son-in-law." Now, I never broke. I was there on my ego. I just wanted to be in the movie. Who cared? They didn't even know. They didn't know it was going to even come out at the time. They kept canceling and firing people. So he says to me, I says to Francis, "You better rethink this. This guy undermines my family, gets my son Sonny killed, gets my youngest Michael into the business. I don't want him in the business. And I said, wait a minute. Now I don't know protocol on a set. I've never been on a set, even in rehearsal. So I said, Francis, go over there a minute. I want to embarrass this guy. And he left because he didn't get me in the movie. The whole room went silent because they're saying, who is this guy? I'm wearing Brioni suits already at 26 years of age. They look like gardening dress better than these kids the way they show. So he leaves. As soon as he leaves, the room gets silent, trying to figure out who I was. So they told me, don't look at him, don't talk to him. I put my arm around him. I walked him into the back where the games were. I knew there was no game going on. I didn't want to embarrass him. And I go nose to nose with this guy because everybody's been saying, you're not going to be in that movie. I'd never be able to go back to the neighborhood. They all thought I lied to them. I didn't lie. I had the part. So I went to him. I said, listen, all due respect to who you are, Mr. Brando. I know I saw your movies great, but you screwed us up for me. You get me fired, I will suck on your heart right here. You will bleed out today. Step back. I don't know if he's going to call a cop or whatever. He said, that was brilliant. You could do this part. He thought I was acting. I was ready to whack him.
Hey, listen, I want to ask you another question. Are you a made man? Were you ever a made man?
Nope. And I'll
Never
tell you, my grandfather never was either. His uncle, Angelo Russo, was a major guy in Sicily. And when I came here, everybody was impressed with that, and that's all we knew. But I have to say, Frank Costello and Maya Lansky kept me away from it because I was impressed with it. And they wanted me clean for their own reasons because I was carrying money everywhere.
Right.
And at that time, I was a gimp even. My left hand, nobody was going to bother me. I'd be walking with $10,000 going from Toots Shor's to Coke that night. And who's going to bother a cripple?
I had to deliver breadsticks to somebody in Las Vegas. So they gave me the box. The fucking box weighed about 40 pounds. And it was breadsticks. And I flew to Las Vegas with some friends on the plane. And they kept worrying about the breadsticks. So I left them on the floor. They kept saying, Ron, keep the bread. I said, screw the breadsticks. I said, and stop it because you're making the breadsticks too important. People are going to wonder what's in the breadsticks. I never knew. All I know is I got a lot of money tip for bringing the breadsticks. But my father was a union delegate for the Painters Decorator Union. So I had a lot of people in my house that my mother used to have dinner for with big names. And my father would say to me all the time, you never heard these people, they were never here, and you don't know these names. But that ruined me because today I don't remember anybody's name. Right? Are you the same way? I was so trained.
No, I remembered everybody's name because
I was trained to forget people's names.
Oh.
And I can't remember.
He doesn't remember
But
now.
my father was not in the mafia.
Actually, the fact that he remembers you is good.
My father was fluent speaker in Italian. So he used to talk to all the union people.
What dialect, just out of curiosity?
He used to tell them to vote.
What dialect, he said?
What dialect? My father spoke pure Italian. He was from Genoa, but his Italian was pure. My mother was Barese, Napolitan, and Calabrese, and that's the mafia side, the Napolitan side. But my father was Genovese, and he spoke to all the people to vote for Schoenfeld and people like that. Then Schoenfeld and somebody took over $3 million. All right. So I told my father always, Papa, where's the money? He said, I don't know. My father was on his deathbed. Do you think I went over there? I said, Papa, before you die, what's the difference? They can't kill you. He said, you're dying. Where's the $3 million? He said, Ronnie, if I knew, I would have spent it a long time ago. So nobody knew where the $3 million of union dues went. But Schoenfeld and another one, I forgot his name, they robbed it.
Wow. I mean, we all know the stories about, the Teamsters and all that. And most of it's true, unfortunately.
Well, I'm writing a book and I really, I've a lot. I won't use names in my book. I will never, ever use anybody's name, dead or alive. So it's going to be tough writing about my life without using real names. I use fictitious names.
Well, I mean, that's interesting you're saying that because my first book, Hollywood Godfather, I'm happy. It's got over 2,500 5-star reviews on Amazon, and so they wanted me to do another book. And my lawyer said, Johnny, you got away with a lot in that book.
Yeah, right. I think so too. I was going to go there.
Yeah.
You used real names. You said stuff that you could get knocked off for. How come nobody's ever knocked you off?
They tried. I've been shot, stabbed, run over. Forget about it.
And they still couldn't get you.
Well, no, the funniest thing, there was one name that I was worried about that was still alive, Junior Persico. And my book came out the middle of March, 2 or 3 years ago. On the 10th of March, he died because he was he's in prison, but still I didn't want to, use his real name. So now what I'm doing, my second book, which you have there, The Sixth Family.
Right, that's a good one. That's the one I like. I breezed through this one, and
Hang
this
on, go
one
back. Let him finish the
packed
statement.
with goodies.
Let him finish.
No, wait a minute. Packed with goodies. Trust Ron. Get this book. You won't put it down. It's quick reading, and it's really full of.
Are you going to turn that one into a movie?
Everybody says that.
I think it could be a movie, Johnny.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the script is in here.
Well, we write it that way. Pat and I are basically,
And there's a part in it for me also.
Whatever one you think it works for you, you got it.
My next question.
Wait.
I want to, Jimmy, you ask him all this publicity shit.
I know, but I want to tell everybody. I know, I'll tell you. First of all, everybody, so here's the book, you guys. It's Hollywood Godfather, My Life in the Movies in the Mob, by Gianni Russo with Patrick Piccarelli. Is that how we pronounce it?
Yeah.
You guys, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it everywhere. Also, Gianni's website is giannirusso.com. And his Instagram is real Gianni Russo. Okay, ask a question.
No, it's not a question. It's a statement. I read the book and I've seen him on television and YouTube. And I've got to say that I couldn't find one lie or one bullshit story that Johnny said. Johnny's probably the most honest writer and raconteur of stories of the mafia. He really knows what he's talking about. It's authentic. It's real. So don't be fooled by the bullshit that Hollywood puts out, where everybody is just some crazy machine gun craze nut job. Gianni Russo will talk to you in this book. It's like he's talking directly to you. He writes that way. He writes like you're having lunch with him, which brings me to, I was having dinner with a very famous person, wise guy, and we're good friends. We're buddies. And I said something to him, and he said, Ron, if my boss said to kill you, I would have to, and I love you. I said, you would really kill me? He said, yeah, if my boss said, kill Ron, I have to do it. I said, but that's bullshit. How could you say you love me? He said, it would bother me. I would feel bad, but I would still have to kill you.
Well, yeah,
So
that was the old way.
No, but I turned to his wife and I said, if ever I say a bad word about your husband, kick me in the ass.
So I have another question for you, because I took little tidbits out. So one, I heard that it says that you went on a date with Zsa Zsa Gabor, and the number two, it said you had a three-way with Liza Minnelli, which Ron doesn't like Liza Minnelli, but it said you had someplace I read you had a three-way with Liza Minnelli. So are those two true things?
Well, the date with Zsa Zsa Gabor, I would have never went to. I knew her. Merv Griffin called me up, and he said, Johnny, do me a favor. We're having the premiere of MAME in the Cinedrome. It was a big thing, and he's going to be there on one side of the sidewalk. Army Archer is going to be on the other side. It'd be great publicity for you. I just did, just made The Godfather. So I said, okay. And she was living in Howard Hughes's house, in right up the block where I was living.
She lived up in Brentwood.
Yep.
No,
exactly.
up in what do you call it? I know where she lived.
Bel Air.
Bel Air.
Yeah.
Bellagio Drive.
I know. So now I call her, and she has a very distinct voice, and she said, "Where should I pick you up?" I said, "Well, I'll pick you up. I'm a gentleman." She said, "What kind of car do you have?" I said, "Yeah, that's how you know that." And I had a custom built. People know me. I still had the car for a long time. I had a '66 Bentley Stretch Silver Cloud. Cocoa brown. It was an amazing car. So I told her about the car. So we go there. This is a funny story. I hope I don't offend anybody. So I pick her up. She comes out, and I have a tendency when I'm sitting in a car with a woman, I put my hand on her leg. And I knew, we're under all that chiffon and all that stuff she had on. She looked like a lampshade in my grandmother's living room. I said, what am I doing? What am I doing with this lady? I'm 28 years old. I could be with anybody. So now I put my hand on her leg. My hand would not bend. It just was. So I knew how big she was because we always wear all this stuff. Long story short, we go to the premiere. We open the door, and Merv Griffin, who's a great practical joker, I'm sure you guys met him.
Oh, I know Marvin. He was as gay as a lark.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's another story.
Gayest of gay. Always had two beautiful boys with him whenever I saw him.
But the interesting thing, as soon as I get out of the car, he says the first time in public, Zsa Zsa Gabor and Gianni Russo just got engaged. And my mother's watching this show. I had people. I wanted to kill him.
Your mother made a novena for sure.
Hello, I don't forget about it. But Merv was very good too. I did 23 Merv Griffin shows.
I never met Zsa Zsa,
wow.
but my best buddy, Mr. Blackwell, if you know who Mr. Blackwell is.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Richard and I are buddies. He went to her house to meet her for the first time. And as he walked into the living room, she was on her knees picking up the dog shit with a piece of paper. And she didn't even look at Blackwell. And Blackwell said, hello, Zsa Zsa. And she ignored him completely because she was picking up the dog duty. So Blackwell said, it was very nice meeting you, and he left. Because Richard, he didn't play with Mr. Blackwell.
No.
He was very fierce.
So wait, go back to the Liza Minnelli then. Did you have a three-way with Liza Minnelli?
How could you have a three-way with Liza?
Liza and I got really close. I met Liza through her mother when she was a kid living in New York, because we used to go to her apartment late at night. We'd go to PJ Clark's and
I love PJ.
72nd Street. And the kids were getting up, our brother Vincent and her. And now spin forward, I do this movie. She's doing what she's doing. She's appearing in Vegas at the Riviera Hotel. So I used to go see her all the time. So with that, we went across the street to the Stardust Hotel. And I didn't know she was bisexual. So we're sitting there, and the girl, I'll never forget her name, Emelita Esquivel, was starring in a lounge show called The Bad Touch of Vegas. The ceiling opens, and she comes down this rope like a cobra. I looked at Liza. I said, Liza, look at this body. She said, I know.
I remember that show.
Well, then you remember Emelita. That's who we had the threesome with. We were like two guys fighting over a woman. I couldn't believe it.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, Liza and I don't get along.
Well,
oh no, we don't get along at all. No,
I hope she's feeling better though.
I was doing a thing for Jane Russell. She wanted me to get Liza to do a benefit for her to put a roof on her church. So Jane says to me, here, call up Liza, see if Liza will come in as a guest for free. So I call up, and Liza answers the phone. I said, hello, Liza, this is Ron Russell. Who? I said, Ron Russell. How did you get this number? The phone's being changed. The phone flew in the air. It hit something. A man picked up the phone. This number's going to be changed. How did you? Like crazy people. So I said, calm down. And they hung up. So I called Jane back. I said, Jane, they're crazy. This is what they did. She said, oh, I gave you her cellular. I said, well, don't do that. So now I call up the manager, who's a wise guy from Brooklyn, talks just like I do, right?
Oh, I know him well.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Of course. He went to jail. He took a bit. He took a bit.
I said to him,
Westbury Music Fair.
John, yes. I said to him, could you get Liza to do a benefit for Jane Russell? He said, yeah, for $65,000.
Yeah.
I said, what are you talking about, $65,000? I said, I could get Patti LaBelle for $35,000. He said, yeah, but that's not Liza Minnelli. I said, yeah, but Patti LaBelle can sing. Well, don't you think it got back to Jane Russell? Jane calls me up. She said, what the hell did you tell Liza Minnelli's manager? I said, I don't know. What was so shocking? She said that Liza can't sing. I said, I never said that. I said that Patti LaBelle sings better, and we can get Patti LaBelle for $35,000. I said, screw him. He was going to be tough with me. Not that he picked the wrong number to be tough with. So Jane Russell started to laugh. She said, Ron, don't ever do that again. I said, well, don't ever give me anybody's cell number again, Janie.
So hold on, let me brag a little. All right, so some of the besides, okay, so we talked about, hold on, let's go. Both books, you guys. Hollywood Godfather, My Life in the Movies and the Mob. The Sixth Family, a Gianni Russo novel, book 1. Which is there a book 2 coming?
Yes.
Okay, book 2 is coming.
I made a 4-book deal with Amazon. I can't believe it. Amazon's been so good to me. I never wrote a book. The book, A Godfather, has sold 85,000 copies.
That's awesome.
I didn't know that was good. They thought that was like insane.
Yeah, that's good.
It's good material, baby. You write good. Listen, do you have any regrets? Would you have liked to have been a plumber living on Long Island with 3 kids and 7 grandchildren instead of the crazy life that you lived? Because you and I live a very crazy life. So we have to
living it, dude. That's what I think about it.
Yes.
Yeah, but we have to be a little nuts. You and I have to be a little crazy to live the life that we lived and been with places and done what I'm not as hip as you are, but I'm close to it. You got me beat.
You know, in fact, I used it in one trial one time. You spend 5 years in 1949, August 7th, until I was 12. I came out of Bellevue on the 7th floor, 5 years straight, quarantined. I am nuts.
Well, you know, everybody has a nickname in Brooklyn, and mine was Crazy Ronnie. So, okay. I mean, it's Jay when they see me, hey, Crazy Ronnie, how are you? Because I would do the things that nobody else dared to do. Yeah. I was always the guy that would go and do it because I was never afraid of anything. I'm still not afraid. And then when they all found out that I was gay, I thought, oh, shit, they're going to hate me, kill me. Not true. They didn't care. They never mentioned it. They never.
Once you're your friend, that's it. You know?
No. But they never told me you're gay. They still treated me like. But only one big capo, big shot, said to me, Ronnie, if anybody ever hurts you, you call me and let me know who they are. We don't want anybody to like beat you up or hurt you or stuff like that. Right. So I felt good about it. But
that's why I'm saying once they like you, no matter who, once you're their friend, you're their friend.
I'm their friend, and they know they can trust me. And I see them whenever I can. I love them very much. I miss them a lot. I miss the food. I miss the hospitality. When you go in the house, sit down. What can I get you? I got some gabagool. You want over there? I got a pasta. You want a little bit of lasagna? I got you know what I mean? I pasta chotta. Sit down. I miss that because in California, you could drop dead if you go to somebody's house. You don't even get a glass of fucking water. I mean, they don't even offer you a cup of coffee here. I mean, here in California, they don't know from food. Drugs. You want some Coke? I got some LSD. I got that shit for you. But they don't have food. At least you go back home. The Italian hospitality, you cannot beat it.
So hold on. I want to bring it around to entertainment. So, okay. So I'm going to brag a few credits. We got Godfather Parts 1 and 2, Good Night, My Love, Lepke, Chances Are, The Freshman, Any Given Sunday, The Family Man, Super Mario Brothers, Rush Hour 2, Seabiscuit. So you've been in all these movies. Did you know when you did the first Godfather movie and they didn't even really want you to be there, were you like, when you finished with that, you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be an actor? Because some of those are huge, like Seabiscuit, Rush Hour 2, Family Man, Freshman, Any Given Sunday. Those are all really huge movies.
Some of them I helped produce. I mean, Any Given Sunday was a big movie.
Big movie.
Pacino called me. He was having dinner with what's his name? Big producer. He did the JFK too. He's gonna hate me for this. Anyway, he was director, and they were in Dantanas. So I went there, and he said, "Johnny, you know a lot about football." I said, "No, my brother-in-law does. My brother-in-law was Pat Bowlen, and they just won the Super Bowl." And I didn't realize that when they bought the script, Warner Brothers, and he was studying Shanahan, and he wanted to meet Mike Shanahan. So I called Pat on the phone. We were sitting there on the cell phone. And I said, he said, what do you call my house so late for? I said, I'm with a guy that wants to talk to you. He said, who are you with? I said, Pacino. And I just took the phone away. I said, Pacino, Pat Bowlen. I handed him the phone. They talked for an hour.
Oh, wow. Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone, that's the guy. Yep. Oliver Stone. I love him.
So for a nice, originally, where are you from? I didn't
right here, New York City, all my life.
Yeah, but you didn't state it in New York where?
Well, I was from downtown. And
no,
then,
but
Then
Where?
I went to
Give
Bellevue.
me, give me the name, the number. Wait, what street?
121 Mulberry.
Mulberry, 121
Mulberry.
No,
Mulberry.
so you're from Mulberry. You didn't write that in the book, Mulberry. And I was wondering what
No.
I was wondering where you were from. If you're from Mulberry Street, that's really oh gee, I had so many people that own restaurants, they're friends of mine.
Oh my God, they still do. No, but
I-
I didn't mention my children. I got a lot of children. This
Right.
is something I'm writing. I don't want to infringe on them. Some of my kids are very famous on their own right. Why put them in this book? I didn't know how it was going to be received. So to me, this is my life. And the reason, I don't know if you digested, the last page in the first book is Yes, You Can. And now I have a foundation called Yes, You Can.
Right.
Because if I could do it, anybody could. I'm an illiterate. I can't even write my name, not alone a book. If it wasn't for Pat, we did everything by phone. I never met this guy when this book came out. I didn't meet him. I did by
But
phone and recorded it.
That's what I liked about your books. You're a street writer. I'm a street writer. We're not fancy schmancy. We don't use words that nobody understands. We use regular words. We talk street. And you wrote street. And I understand.
It's funny that you said that. Dan Moldia, a guy called Frank Wyman, who was with the literary group, one of the best literary agents you could have, he was setting me up for this book. And Dan Moldia just wrote the Clinton book, and he wanted to do it. I said, I don't know you. I mean, Gay Talese is very close to me, and Gay's my neighbor here. And they all were very interested in doing it. I said, well, what do you know about me? Can you write a 3 or 4 page synopsis? They looked at me like I had two heads, saying, you want me to write something to write your story? Forget about it. He finds this guy, Pat Piccarelli, who, as soon as he picked up the phone, I said, what do you know about me? This is going to kill you. He said, what do I know about you? I've been on the job in New York. I retired as a lieutenant in OCB. For the last 10 years, I was trying to arrest you because I knew you've been doing something wrong. I love the guy immediately.
Now, I want to ask you the most provocative question of all. In the book, you talked about killing someone.
I killed 3 people.
Two people.
Well, I'm going to go with the one. You're blowing all my lines, Jimmy. He does that. He steps on everything I say. I was going to go to
He
this.
said it too, though.
Yeah, but I was going to go with the first one. Then I'm going to say, okay, now 1 you got away with. How come 2 you got away with that too? So tell me
They were
about
all self-defense.
Yeah, right.
I don't want your audience to think I was going around killing anybody. The first kid was a pedophile. Wasn't a kid. He was like 20 years old, and he was a pedophile in the hospital. The second one was a guy that came into my club, and he stabbed a lady called Lorenzo. What's her name? Lois Manis. His name was Lorenzo Morales. He was an underboss for Pablo Escobar. I'll give you the date I did it. That's why, I mean, I don't know how many people killed anybody. You never forget the date you do it. October 28, 1989, in my club, this guy came in and stabbed this lady with a champagne bottle. And I had Steve Sharip as my doorman. He was going to UNLV for hotel school. And I hired him and put him in a tuxedo because he's a big guy. So I called the front door. I said, Steve, get to table 7. He goes, I ain't going over there. And for your audience who don't know who Steve is, Steve was in The Sopranos, and now he's in Blue Bloods. The guy has a big career, but that's where he was. But he wasn't going over to this maniac. The only reason I went over there, I knew I had to get the lady to the hospital. He stabbed her in the face with a broken bottle. And then he wound up cutting my throat, and then I killed him. But, it's,
Fatto bene. Fatto bene. Get rid of another scumbag.
Wait, so 2 people.
Now, what about the first one? How'd you knock him off?
with a broomstick.
I read that. Right.
No, with a broom. I don't know why. Dolores Barone was the floor nurse. I was pretty good looking when I was a kid. And she said, you got to watch out for this guy. And I said, why? And I didn't know about pedophiles or anything. I was a kid. I was 11 years old going on 12 and confined there all those years. And basically he was a physical therapist, but taking advantage of these poor kids. But I put a broom, the little porter's brooms that you see in the theaters. I don't even know if they make them anymore. So they wouldn't give you a bedpan anymore once you had some strength, because they wanted to encourage you to get out of it. A lot of kids were just laying there and dying. They gave up. I watched 2,300 kids die in that room.
Oh, wow.
20 beds. That's why, if you don't get calloused and totally senseless and walk out like I did, fortunately I'm still here. But the bottom line, I took the porter's broom, I crawled onto the floor, and we used to drag ourselves to the bars and then go to the bathroom. Well, I couldn't stand at a urinal because I had no balance. So I used to sit on the bowl. I don't know what made me snap the bristles off the broom. And I'd sit there and I sharpened the broom handle in the grout of the floor tile. And then I took the broom handle and I put it in the radiators were hung on the walls those years. And I hung it, put it in behind there so nobody would take it. And I always went to the fourth stall. And sure enough, one night he came. And that's how I was able to kill him, because I was sitting lower. My right side of my body, after dragging myself for 2 years, was still my right side is still so powerful, just from memory muscle. And he was standing over me, and fortunately, I hit him under the rib cage, and it went right out his back. So
Wow.
I was so afraid, and that was it. But
That's cool,
it's
though.
been-
Pedophiles should get that. I hate pedophiles.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's
I think they're the sickest people in the world, but unfortunately they exist. But ha fatto bene again, altro volto. Ha fatto bene. You speak Italiano.
no.
Like-
I speak a dialect from Sicily.
Right. You speak a Sicilian. Ido ado.
Yes.
Ido gistaga. Ido.
I also wrote down you defeated you won 23 different criminal indictments.
Yeah. Yep.
I like all the
He
cool
was
stuff.
innocent all the time.
That's why I have a short neck. Italians have short neck. They're always in front of the judge saying, "I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know."
That's why I have a short neck.
I know that. that I've heard that before.
Oh, but that was
So,
a
Johnny,
mistake. Yes, I'm sorry.
Johnny, in your crazy life, what is the most valuable thing you're taking with you on your last breath?
I'm so confident. I don't know if I'm going to die.
We all do.
There you go. I
hate
like
to break-
that.
I hate to break. I am going to take with me on my last breath the love for my daughters and Jimmy
That's great.
and my little dog.
Yeah, we
That's
love it.
fabulous.
That's what I'm taking on my.
But you
last
guys
breath.
are in the same basically ballpark, age. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're younger. I'm 82. I'll be 83. You're 80.
Yeah.
And I think we look damn good, and we're pretty,
No, and we're
young guy. Like we move around like young guys. Where do you live now? New York or LA?
I live here in New York most of the time. People thought I was in real estate for a while. I have 10 mothers to my kids. I was buying houses for them. So I have houses still in LA, all over. I mean, I used to go to Palm Springs all the time.
It's where we live. We live in Palm.
I know.
Hey,
I
Palm Springs is not the same. It's no longer movie stars, and it's gotten to be LA.
Yeah. Well,
Sad
thank
as
God
it
you're not
is.
in LA. I mean, look at that. I mean,
it's a success pool.
But you know what, Johnny? I was born on Columbia Street in Red Hook,
oh wow.
Brooklyn. You go back to Red Hook now, forget about it. It's like the Riviera. The homes are those dumpy apartments. They fix them up. The restaurants are fabulous. Have you ever been to Red Hook lately?
No, you know what it is? I don't drive, believe it or not. I drove when I was a kid for a while. Then I got a driver because I drink too much. And I couldn't even go to a borough. I wouldn't know where to drive. I don't drive. And
I'll
now
tell
it's
you
easy. What?
I'll tell you what. When I come to New York, I'll pick you up and I'll take you to a great restaurant in Red Hook. The food is absolutely incredible.
Well,
Is that a date? And we can talk.
take you up on that. And then you have to come here. I went on the lam for 2 years. You probably read it in the book after the Kennedy assassination. They sent me away. So what I did, I had a boat at that time. Nobody realized it, in Madeira, Spain. So they could never find me. And I have 3 different passports. So when I left, they could never find me. not that I did anything. They knew I was a messenger. They knew I was with, with so many people and all these conversations. And I spent every weekend with Senator John F. Kennedy at the Sands Hotel while they were grooming him. I was a kid. I was 16, 17 years old, hanging out with all these people. I was the eyes and ears for Costello, bringing them everything back that he wanted to know. But I went to every great restaurant for France, Spain, and all that. I became a saucier. I graduated from the Cordon Bleu. I am a bona fide saucier. And yeah, you have to come to my house because I have dinner parties that I sell for charities.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, lovely. We'd love to do it. I think you and I would have a lot of fun together if we spoke, because we could talk more openly about the crazy shit that's happened in our lives.
Oh my God.
Like one time I was in the limo with a bunch of the boys, and they were a little, drank a lot of wine. And one of the guys said, I bet you I could get the zero in that full stop sign. I said, okay. So he shot the full stop sign and the bullet went up in the window. And I thought, oh my God, God forbid he shot somebody in the apartment. And then they would keep driving and they'd say, I bet you we could shoot out that street light.
Oh no, they did that all the time. That's why when these guys used to go over the Verrazano Bridge, they wanted to shoot the zero in the 60. And that was a big contest. And if we didn't get it, you have to pick up the check for the night. So they were really trying on.
You know what my favorite restaurant was downtown? Pulio's. You ever go to Pulio's?
Oh yeah, my God, shit.
Tony Pulio was a friend. He was a sweetheart of a guy, and his wife was a doll too.
No, not Grand. It was before. It was right off of Mulberry. I knew it well.
Yeah.
You know who used to go there all the time? Sonny Grasso until he died.
Yeah, Pulio's made delicious food. I love Pulio's.
Oh my God, yeah. There's still, Lamella's still great.
Oh, they're not there. They passed away. Tony and his wife. They're no
I know,
longer.
but Frankie C and his sister still run it.
They do?
Oh yeah. Man.
I haven't been there in years. I'm gonna go when I go. We're out here in this shitting desert. I hate it. I miss bricks. I want to come back so bad. We're thinking of moving to the Hamptons and buying a house in the Hamptons and working from there. We fly all over. Today, with the airplane, you go all over. You don't have to be in the action anymore. You go to the action.
No, that's right.
And Jimmy, I'm in about 9 movies coming up this year, so we'll be doing work.
Wow, God bless.
Yeah, but we're not even in LA. Half of the time I'm in Arizona, Nevada, New York, New Jersey, all over the place.
They're shooting all over the place.
Yeah, so there's no point in staying in California anymore.
No.
The cost of living here is insane. I mean, the earthquake, we live on the San Andreas Fault. Now they're talking about the fault may explode any minute. So
let me do some promos real quick.
The worst thing that can happen to you in New York is a cab kills you. Runs you down.
Well,
So you guys, this is Gianni Russo. You can
Who's
follow
a great person.
You can
He's a terrific
follow him on
guy.
Instagram at Real Gianni Russo, GIANNIRUSSO. He's got 2 books with another one coming. Hollywood Godfather, My Life in the Movies and the Mob. Great, phenomenal book. We've also got The Sixth Family, a Gianni Russo novel. Book 1, book 2 is coming, and imagine that
that just came out. That came out on my birthday.
Yeah, that one just came out, and they'll have a movie.
This is the one I really enjoyed. I like that one, but this one I loved.
So it's very good, you guys. I think you guys will enjoy it. Check out all his stuff. He's also got a bunch of CDs and music streaming on Spotify, or you can go to iTunes and get it. He's got a podcast. Do you do your podcast regularly?
Every week I drop a new show.
So every week a new show, you guys. It's called the Hollywood Godfather Podcast, and you can just Google that on YouTube, right? And it'll be there.
Oh yeah, it's on it's Spotify. It's all like a lot of the. We're not on as many platforms as you, but once we get popular, we will be.
No, I love it.
After reading your books and seeing you on YouTube, I said to Jimmy, "Get this guy on our show." I wanted to get to know you. I am so happy that you came on our show.
I appreciate it. Believe me.
I am so happy that I know you.
Okay.
And I'm so happy that when we come to New York, we're going to get together because
we will.
You're a good guy. I think of you as you're a paisano. You're a good guy.
Oh, I am really.
We're all related, baby.
Somehow, some way, probably.
That's right.
We're related.
So we want to thank you for coming on the show, and we'll be in touch. And if you need anything, let us know. And again, everybody, get his books. And you're a great guest. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I think you've lived an incredible life. Read his books, and you will live his life with him through his books because he writes that way. Please, I'm telling you right now, get these books. They're the best. And Johnny, you're the best. Take care, Paisano.
Thank you so much.
I
Take care,
appreciate it.
baby.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Yay. All right, everybody. So we're going to bring on our next guest.
I love that interview.
Before we bring on our next guest, we're going to play a quick video for you guys. This is the trailer for Flash Gordon, and Ron's going to do a little quick.
No. Why do you open your big trap?
So anyway,
diarrhea mouth. He's got a diarrhea mouth.
So
He's
go,
gotta always
everybody.
talk.
Here's the Flash Gordon trailer. You got a minute. Go. Flash Gordon trailer,
It's not
everybody.
on
Enjoy. Yes, it is.
Clytus, I'm bored. What plaything can you offer me today?
An obscure body in the SK system, Your Majesty. The inhabitants refer to it as the planet Earth.
I like to play with things a while before annihilation.
Pathetic earthlings. Who can save you now?
Strange object imaged in the Imperial Vortex.
Remove the Earthwoman. Prepare her for our pleasure.
Don't kill him yet, Father. I want him. Go, Flash, go!
Yay! So that's the Flash Gordon trailer, and now we're gonna bring on our next guest. Make sure we can hear him, and once we know we can hear him, then we'll actually introduce him. So go ahead, Juan, bring him on. Hey!
Hey, do you hear me?
And we can hear him. All right, everybody, super excited. Now we're welcoming to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, Sam J. Jones, also known as Flash Gordon. Hey, what's up, and welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Jimmy and Ron, for having me. And what a great interview with Gianni right there.
Yeah, he's a superstar.
Sam, I was best friends with Jane Russell. I knew Betty Davis.
Oh my God.
I knew all the great legends of Hollywood, and I was never really that excited. In knowing you right now, I am the most excited because you are my hero. I love and adore you. For years, I have said to Jimmy, get him on this show because I am a Flash Gordon freak. Look at my Strata sled.
So that's a 1930s Strata sled that I got him.
Listen, when I was a little boy, I grew up wanting to be Flash Gordon because of Buster Crabbe. I used to watch it in the movies, and then I watch it on television. I love Ming and Princess Azura and Dale Arden. So I wanted to be an actor, of course, and my dream was to play Flash Gordon. And then I read in the papers, this fucking good-looking guy is now going to play Flash Gordon. And I thought, how can I have him killed so I could get the part? All my life, you son of a bitch, I wanted to play Flash Gordon.
That's amazing.
It is the greatest role anyone could ever play. And you did it. And you did it so well.
Well, thank you. And you mentioned
My
Buster.
hero.
Yeah, you mentioned Buster Crabbe. What an incredible human being. A lot of people don't know, but he actually traveled with me probably 2 weeks before the premiere. So that would have been the second week of Christmas, 1980. And he traveled with me. We did a couple talk shows together, and he helped promote Flash Gordon. So he was amazing.
So this is a shirt. I used to be a clothing designer, so I made this one-of-a-kind Flash Gordon shirt for him when we first started dating, 10 years ago. Amazing. Then for Christmas 2 years ago, I bought him this. It's an actual 1930s Stratus. What do you call it? A Stratus?
Stratosled.
Stratosled from the 30s. And then I bought him like 8 years ago. Go ahead.
Look at this.
That's
This
a
is
Buster
the
Crab
Buster
action
Crab
figure.
Flash
Oh
Gordon.
my gosh, where did you find that?
Action figure. I got it on
And
eBay. It cost a fortune.
Wait, it's got the Stratosled in it. It's got the ray guns. It's got everything, and it's got Buster Crab's face.
And then we have a friend who
Wait,
lives.
and then I have you. Here you are. Look at you. Woo, woo, woo. There's Sam Jones.
That's it. Yeah.
That's Sam Jones.
And then as a kid, go ahead and bring it back, Juan. So we live in Palm Springs, and there's a guy here who collects movie memorabilia who I got invited to because I collect action figures and stuff. So he brought me to his house, and he's got everything. He's got like the original C-3PO, and he's got Robbie the Robot. He's got and he has the actual one that they used in the TV series back in the 30s, the Stratus sled, like hanging.
Stratosled.
Stratosled. It's only like this big. It's not very big.
Amazing.
And he's actually like got it. And now that we've had you on the show, I'll be on eBay looking to get my like Sam Jones Flash.
Okay, let's get away
Gordon
from
stuff.
Let's get away from Flash Gordon.
So this is Ron. Hold on. We have a chat room full of people. Say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Everybody. Hey.
There you go.
Let's go directly to where everybody cannot wait for me to ask you this question. Playgirl.
Yeah.
And you were showing a very well endowed Wang. And I want to ask you.
Not to be confused with Ming.
No, Wang. Now, I want to ask you, did it do good for your career or did it harm your career?
No, it didn't harm. It didn't. I don't know if it helped, but the reason why I did it, Burt Reynolds was my hero. He was obviously, he was iconic. He was a legend back then in the 70s, and he posed for Cosmopolitan. I thought, well, wait a minute, there's my hero, and he's posing for Cosmo. And then I got this offer to do Playgirl, and I was a complete unknown. 1975, wasn't even in Hollywood at that point. I did it. And in 1975, well, they paid me $1,000. Come on, guys. That was if you do the inflation math right now, what is that, about 25, 50K?
Well, 10,000, 1,000.
Well,
and it always had a zero to it.
They also said, though, because I think I read someplace online.
This is 50 years later, though.
Yeah, that's 50. Yeah. I read someplace online, though, they didn't make as big a splash until after you were Flash Gordon, and then they made a huge splash.
Okay, another question.
Hey, wait. Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm confused, but I remember seeing Flesh Gordon.
Yes.
Did you do it as a soft porn and then make it into a GP?
I didn't know it then, but when we were in London in 1979 filming Flash Gordon, some of the actors played a trick on me. They said, hey, we're going to go watch this old remake of Flash Gordon. And we walked into the movie theater, and it was Flesh Gordon, which I knew nothing about, but it was a porn. It was a porno film. And I said, you got to be kidding me. This is crazy. Okay.
But then you also were naked in another movie, the one with the baby carriage, where you're running around, jumping on all over the place.
Oh, you're talking about
the chauffeur.
Oh, my chauffeur with Debbie Foreman, who played Valley Girl. Yeah, that was amazing.
And you were bouncing your ass all over that film.
I got a funny story. I got a quick funny story about that if you want me to tell it.
Yes. First of all, Deborah Foreman is a good friend of ours. She's been on the show like 5 times.
She's a buddy.
So here we are filming in the wintertime in LA, and we're at this park. There's nobody there. It's probably 7:30 and maybe 7:15, 7:30 in the morning. The action called for me, get out of the limousine. I'm drunk and strip naked and run this way with my back to camera. So my first question was, we pulled up and I said, has anybody scouted out here? He says, what do you mean scouting? I said, well, there's a road. You want me to exit the vehicle, run full speed, and turn right down there about 50 yards. I said, has anybody gone down there to see if anybody's there at the park? And the AD said, Sam, it's 7:30 in the morning. Who in the hell is going to, it's 38 degrees, 41 degrees, whatever. Who in the hell is going to be here at the park? I said, okay. So roll camera action and stripped naked. I ran with my back to camera. I made a right. Before I made the right turn, as I got there, there is a senior citizens picnic with everybody out there at the park, and I'm stark naked, and all of a sudden I'm freaking out, and this old lady, about 80, yells out, "I've seen bigger before. Son. It's 40 degrees out. Come on, give me a break."
You know what? When I watched the film, you know what I thought? Oh my God, his balls must be killing him. Because when you run, they bounce. I know what mine do. And if they hurt, especially in the cold weather, your balls shrink and they get worse. So that's all I could think of was your balls hurting you when you were running.
But it was, I mean, imagine a senior citizens picnic on
And
a
she
winter
says
day.
it's
It's
bigger.
7:30 in the morning. It was amazing.
Now, listen, would you ever do nude again at this age?
Oh, I mean, posing, I already did the Playgirl thing. There's no reason to do it again. But excuse me, the couple of the scenes, as you know, I'm preaching to the choir here. As you know, with the men, they sort of film the back of us so we can hide the nakedness, the frontal nakedness of the ladies. That's primarily why they use us. I did that quick little love scene in the first action drama on HBO called First and 10.
Oh my God, that was such a good. I love that show.
Right.
I used to watch that show, and I didn't actually know that it was you in it. But back when I used to watch it, I was a big fan of Jason Beggy. You know, that was kind of like what made his career. And that was a great show, though. I love that show.
I'm a great believer in equality. Yeah. Women are exposed in film. You see the vagina, the crack of their ass, their nipples, their tits, everything, right? And a guy is under a sheet. Yes. To me, that is so wrong because you're exploiting the woman. If it's a love scene, the man should be equally as naked as the woman. And there's nothing wrong with frontal nudity because it's part of nature. I believe that way. Would I do a nude scene? No. You know why? I would have to unroll it and possibly trip over it.
You know, also, I don't know. People don't understand. I mean, maybe people can perform, maybe people can do it. But I can tell you, when I did that little scene with Debbie, well, it really wasn't a love scene. It was just me running naked. But when I did the love scene in the HBO First and 10, there's 80 people standing there. There's 80 people. So I thought, oh, you know, and it's again, it was cold again. I don't know why it's always cold on a film set. But I mean, the last thing you think of is really performing. You know, it's just acting anyway. There was no, it was just, you know, all the motions and the noises. But I don't know how anybody can perform with 80 people watching.
Well, listen, I knew Tony Curtis really well. Yeah. And I asked Tony, I said, when you were making out with Marilyn Monroe and Some Like It Hot, did you ever get a hard on? He said, Ron, I was strapped down. He said, because I did. When she was making out with me, he said, I got so fucking hot because he used to make love with her because he always had sex with Marilyn. He got her pregnant once. He said, yeah, he said, I was strapped down because of, so when you make love with these broads, you get excited or it's just movies?
Yeah, but my objective really, when I do it, I mean, it was, I want to make the actress feel very comfortable. And that one scene with the young lady in First and 10, I think I put 3 or 4 layers of something between us. Part of the sheet, a small towel, maybe a second towel. Just wanted to make, because I could tell she was a little bit younger and she was very, I think it was her first project ever. And anyway, I just wanted her to be comfortable. But I did, again, there's no way to get excited for me with 80 people looking at you.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm in a lot of movies, but I've never done a love scene. I don't know why. I've never been in bed with a woman or a man, anybody, or a dog or a cat or a snake.
I've read that your first movie was 10. That's the Bo Derek movie, right?
Correct. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yes.
That's a fucking good movie.
That was a great movie.
Oh, was incredible. I spent most of my time with her husband, John Derek.
Gorgeous.
Having lunch, probably, I don't know, 3 weeks of lunches and just picking his brain about Hollywood back there in the late 30s, 40s, and 50s. And he was amazing. He was amazing.
And one of the handsomest men on film.
Yeah.
Really good looking guy.
So let's go back. So let's go to Flash Gordon. So Flash Gordon, I think I read, and I don't know if this is true, like maybe Kurt Russell and somebody else was up for the role. Like, did you have to audition, and how was it becoming Flash Gordon? Like, what'd you have to
do? Jimmy, it was a long process. They don't do this anymore because it's not cost effective. They didn't have video back in the late 70s. So if they wanted to put you on film, it had to be a screen test, meaning film. So if you're on film, requires a film crew. But before they even flew me to London and did the old-fashioned Hollywood screen test for 30 consecutive days, it was probably 7 months, if not more, of interviews and auditions in LA. And it was grueling. It was absolutely grueling because me with a military background, being a Marine, in my mind, I still am. I want you to tell me, I want you, Jimmy, and you, Ron, to say, if there's a project or something, I want you to say right away, yes, Sam, we want you. And if you don't want me, I want you to say, no, we don't want you at all.
Up front.
Yeah, rather than pull me into this holding pattern. Anyway, Flash Gordon audition process was a 9-month holding pattern of I don't know what's going on. And finally, when they flew me to London for the 30 days of the old-fashioned screen test, then after the 30th day, Dino said, okay.
They could not have picked better. They made you a blonde, and you looked a little weird blonde, but but it worked because Flash Gordon in comic books was a blonde. And
yes.
when I saw the film, I'm a fan of Flash Gordon. It's my whole reason. Yeah. I went to the theater to see it, and I said, I bet you Sky's going to look like a piece of shit. He can never be Buster Crabbe. Yeah. And when I first looked at it, I thought, oh, it's not Buster Crabbe. But then after 10 minutes in the film, I said, but he is Flash Gordon. You really you got that Buster Crabbe out of my head, and you became Flash Gordon.
Cool.
Film was okay. It's kind of a fantasy, funny film, really.
Yeah.
I still watch it, by the way. I mean, because I love Emperor Ming. When I was little, we used to play in my backyard with all the kids. And I remember my friend Anthony always played Emperor Ming, and I would kill him. I couldn't wait to get there. And we used to put sticks in the ground with big boxes on it, make believe it was a Strata sled. So really, I was Flash Gordon before you.
I also read it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kurt Russell were up for it.
Yeah, Flash Gordon with a German accent.
No, but I read it online that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kurt Russell were two of the people they were considering.
Sam Jones.
Of course, they got the right guy.
Sam Jones if they could do 100 Flash Gordons, and it'll never be like Sam Jones portraying Flash Gordon.
Timothy Dalton also got started
you
there.
You over there, Sam.
Yeah.
I think you and I are going to be in a movie together.
Which one?
I can't talk about it, but I'd be happy when I meet you. It'd be nice. We could talk about Flash Gordon. I can't.
I know we can. No. We're working on a movie called Gingers. That you're going to be in a movie called Gingers.
Wait a minute. Oh, I didn't. Well, yeah. So you obviously know Bobby.
I'm producing it. They brought me on to produce it.
What am I talking about? He's the one that told me to reach out to.
Rob Marno sent. Yes, and actually we want to thank him. He was on our show. Bobby. We call him Bobby.
Right.
He's the one who said he was going to see you at a convention in Europe someplace, and I was like, if you see him, tell him about our show. I want to have him come on the show, and he did. And gave me your contact information. And that's how you're here.
I begged him. I absolutely was disgusted.
Yeah.
I said, please, I'm begging you, talk to Sam. Tell him to come on our show. I went nuts.
Well, it worked out great. We had dinner in Dublin. Oh gosh, I want to say probably 10 days ago. I mean, I just got back from Dublin.
He's a great guy.
And Andy was there, but Bobby's wife was there. I mean, just wonderful. I just enjoyed it. And yes, of course, he's the one that made this happen. And thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Andy. I'm glad it happened. I hope it all
works. And the scene we're in together, you walk into a room and I beat you up. I punch you all over. I get you and I give a jiu-jitsu flip. I flip you out a window. Then I jump out the window and I kick you all around. And you lay there saying, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
I didn't read the same script.
The big tough Marine.
So before COVID, we went to a movie premiere, and we're pretty good friends with John James. And
Yes.
you did a movie, Accelerator, with him and his daughter. I wrote it down. Accelerator
John.
with Maxwell Caulfield, John James, Sean Young, Ryan Wesson, Mark Capel, and
Yes.
Laura James.
Good
And it's
movie.
actually a really, I don't know if it ever went anywhere, but it was actually a really good movie.
Good movie.
Yeah.
I never
I
actually
enjoyed it. So you said you had interviewed John right at that time, or you were in the area? I missed that part.
Oh, we're friends with him. We met him at a
No,
convention years ago.
I interviewed him about 4 times.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
we've been in his company a lot.
Actually, they were
And
all the
when
Dynasty.
when they came to Palm Springs, the 3 guys at a Dynasty show.
Yeah.
We saw
They have
John.
like a cabaret Dynasty show, so they invited us to the show, and
Yeah.
all the Dynasty
John,
guys came
John
on our
is a
show.
good guy. I like John a
He is
lot.
great. We used to ride Harleys together back in the 80s. We had our own group, and we take off on weekend trips on our Harleys. Yeah, and I still have a Harley.
Well, watch it. You know, how old are you now?
I'm 68. 68.
You're a good baby. I'm 82. I'll be 83. I'm an
Oh
old.
my goodness! Yeah, wow.
But yeah, wait till you get to be my age. You still be handsome because you're handsome for 68. Which the girls go for you too, right? Yeah, they do.
Well, look,
You go into a club or bar.
Thank God I've been happily married for 30 years.
Good for you.
That don't mean a thing. That's not the question. The question, I'm not going to get you in trouble. I didn't say you were flirting back. But I know a lot of ladies, if they saw you, they'd say, that's some hunk of man. I'm going to get
They're
him.
saying it in the chat.
Right. I told them all, I said, ladies, put new batteries in your vibrators because Sam Jones is coming on.
Okay, so hold on. So I want
And
to
if
move
they go
forward.
to Playboy and see you naked, they're going to blow their
before we do
vibrators
Ted.
up in pieces.
So then we watched a movie too, not too long ago. During COVID, we have to watch so much stuff because there was nothing to do during COVID. So we watched another movie you were in, Jane and the Lost City.
Yeah,
Which was a fun
that was
movie.
good. I
That was a
liked
fun
it.
movie.
And you were very good in that movie. I liked that.
But
what was with all the scars on your face?
I don't think that was
Which
Jungle.
movie was
No,
it?
that wasn't
Which,
Jane and
which
the
is the
Lost
movie
Oh,
that
you're thinking of SG1, where I played the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
right with the scars?
Stargate 1, yeah.
What were the scars about? You never
Well, because I was a bounty hunter, and bounty hunters get scarred
because
up,
the script
shot.
never told us why you had scars.
So hold on. All right. So then
But that was a good movie. I like that.
That's a TV show. I want to move
TV
forward
show,
to Ted.
whatever.
All right. So then you're in Ted. So I collect action figures. I've got a room full of action figures. And Ron actually got me this when the movie came out because I loved it. So how was
I'm sure I have more than you do.
No.
Oh yeah, it probably does. He's Sam Jones.
Oh no, Jimmy's got a collection of over 100.
I don't know, I got about $500,000 worth of action figures.
Yeah, well, he's got everything. He's
I
the
can
whole
top
room.
that, but how many action figures do you have roughly?
I don't know how many they are.
200, 300, 400?
Probably more like about 800.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a lot.
I'm probably right under that. I've got over 1,000 pieces. I'm talking about my entire Flash Gordon private collection.
Oh, I would love
Oh,
to
but I
see
don't have
that.
all Flash Gordon
No.
stuff. That would be dope.
Well,
Mine's all Flash Gordon.
Oh no, that's awesome. Like I have everything.
Sam, do you
I'm putting together a brochure right now because I want to exhibit it in a museum.
Oh, that's terrific.
Sam, you ever get to Palm Springs? You live in LA,
Well,
right?
I was getting ready to ask you. You guys probably know Chris Spellman, right? Who does the? Yeah. So I know I did his event twice, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. When I go to Palm Springs, I enjoy doing his event.
Well,
And-
you come over the house. We'll show you Jimmy's collection. I'll make you Italian food. I cook good.
No,
I mean, we're going to be in a movie together. We might as well get to know each other, right? I mean, in that scene where I beat you up, I don't want to hurt myself, especially when I pick you up and I throw you against the wall.
Yeah.
Wait, I want.
You know why you're not going to hurt yourself, right, Ron? You know why, right?
What?
Because you're not going to beat me up. That's all.
No, I'm Flash Gordon.
So no,
I'm Flash Gordon.
I want to go back to Ted though, because I think Ted is one of the is a brilliant movie. The first one, you were really good, and the second one is fucking hilarious at Comic-Con. Did you have a good time?
Oh, I love that.
Did you have a good time doing the Ted films?
Oh gosh, yeah. It was great to be part of his directorial debut.
Yes,
and it was wonderful. And Seth was great. Mark Wahlberg one of the most humble leading men in Hollywood. Really, I just enjoyed it. They created such a professional atmosphere, but really just a at ease, stress-free environment as well. It's wonderful.
I love it. In my TED Talks,
I'm so happy you're on our show. You know why? Because you could have been a dick, a real asshole.
Yeah.
Well, you could have been. You know how many come on our show that after I meet them, I say, fuck that one. I'll never talk to them again. But you are a nice guy, and I'm so happy that the image that I had of you is who you are. I really am happy to have met you because you've been my hero. I know it sounds corny.
he doesn't get excited about. Let me tell you,
a few times in my life. But
so we're one of the oldest podcasters in existence. First of all, they didn't even have a term podcaster. We're on. We just passed our 15th year.
15.
Wonderful.
So nobody actually did it.
We're Emmy nominated,
and we've got 1 billion downloads
right now. Over 5 million people will see your interview throughout the world.
So he never gets excited. I've only seen him get excited for one person before, and that was when we were at an event and he met Sister Sledge. He freaked out. He freaked out. But otherwise, this morning at 7 o'clock, he's already up. He's like, we got a show today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. He's dusting his toys. So it's very exciting. So let's talk a little bit about Life After Flash, the documentary then, because it's all about you. And a lot of people that are in it, we've actually kind of know, Deep Roy's a friend of ours.
Right.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of people from it. So tell us a little bit about what is Life After Flash for anybody who doesn't know what it is.
Well, it's a documentary, a little bit about after Flash Gordon. And I tell you, it was my first documentary, and I know now, but you can't really write a script. You can write an outline. But once you roll camera, you never know what you're going to capture. And I wanted to be, as men, for us to reach other men. We can't talk about all the good things and all the great things we've done. We have to talk about our failures so we can be transparent. And I think that's how most men, can relate to one another. Anyway, I had to make it real. So when the producer said, "Hey, Sam, we want to give you a list of a couple hundred questions, and we want you to approve it." And all of a sudden I started reading the list, the first 2 or 3. And I said, you know what? I don't want to see anymore. I don't want to read any more questions. I want this. When you ask me a question, I want it to be spontaneous. I don't want anything sanitized or premeditated.
Or rehearsed.
Yeah. And I think it worked better that way. And so you got the real deal,
Our show is famous. You know why? We're unfiltered.
Yeah.
We have no script. I have half of the time they come on, I don't even know who they are. And I learn. No, it's true. Well, these new jerks. I don't know these new actors. These new ones, I don't.
No,
22 and 22. Jimmy said, "Oh, that guy's famous." I said, "For what? I never saw him." But Jimmy said he's famous. But when it comes to people in my era, they call me Mr. Hollywood. I hung out with Jane Russell, Lauren Bacall, Betty Davis. I hung out with all these broads and the men, all my male friends, Cliff Robertson, I know.
Yeah.
So I have that era in my head. They were great people. They never fought. They never said unkind words about each other. They were very, very elegant people. Today, when I'm on a set, it's horrible. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Everybody's offended. Everybody's touching improperly or whatever the fuck they say.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. And I miss
And they don't give him marks.
Oh, yeah. I was on a set and I said, "Where are my marks?" He said, "They're on." And I said, "What?"
Oh, my gosh.
I have to walk across the room. He said, "Yeah, walk across the room, go to the window, pull the curtain back, look, then go to the door and open it." I said, "But what if I'm out of camera focus?" He said, "Oh, no, see the camera? It's up there. It's going to fall." I said, "Where's the camera?"
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
We've done probably some of the stuff he does is a little even lower budget than some of the stuff you do. So
I do lower.
I wanted to ask you, since you have so much knowledge and experience with Hollywood in its heyday, do you ever go into LA and visit Dave and Esther? They have the Hollywood show, the Nostalgia show. It's small Comic-Con, but it's where all my gosh, you name it,
I follow him on Instagram. I follow him on Instagram. And actually, a lot of the people that they have come have been on our show because we really liked, because we're older and our audience is older, we really like, the stars of the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, the stars there, you would know every single one of them.
Yes.
I know. I know.
We've had a bunch of them on our show.
Barbara Luna.
I'm in the middle of writing a book right now, and I keep when Jimmy drives, and I say, Jimmy, remember this story about so and so? I have no idea how many celebrities I have met in my 64 years. I'm in the business 64 years. My first movie was with Sophia Loren and Tab Hunter, and Tab and I became friends and stayed friends throughout until he passed away. So I met a lot of the legends, and the young ones, I know them. They just don't come up to it.
Yeah.
The legends was something special.
Actually, though, like I
put you in there with the legends because you're no chicken. You're no spring chicken.
So you guys, some of the other stuff you might have seen Sam on, a bunch of TV series. Yep. I never saw Hollywood Safari, so I don't know what that is, but you did 23 episodes of it.
Yeah.
Black Scorpion, Stargate, SG-1, LA Heat, Walker, Texas Ranger, Conan the Adventurer, Silk Stockings, Pacific Blue, Renegade, Diagnosis Murder, Cobra, Baywatch, Hardcastle and McCormick, Hunter, The A-Team, The Spirit, a movie that I actually liked, and I'm friends with Ken Davician and Jason Lively, and we were friends with John Saxon. Maximum Force. Like, you really got some really cool, like, action-y kinds of credits. Do you still like to do action-y kind of movies?
Well, I love it. Yeah, I did. I probably did 20 or 25 movies out of the 75 I've done that had the title either Force or Maximum.
So you know what? You still could do it. You could be a Jason Statham. You could beat up 12 people and people would believe it.
Oh, Jason.
You're not old enough yet to say, oh, like if I were beating up 12 people, they'd say, who they kidding? That old goat is going to beat up 12 people.
How tall are you?
He's big.
6'3", yeah.
He's a big guy. So you could beat up 12 people in a movie easily.
If that's what's scripted.
Well, that's what they do today. You know who Jason Statham is?
Oh, he's incredible. He's incredible.
Yeah, that's his favorite.
My favorite actor because he beats up 12 people in 10 minutes. Without a bruise on him, and not even a shirt ripped, or not even a drop of blood.
Go ahead.
What was that movie he did with Dwayne Johnson? What an incredible relationship.
Yes.
They both. What was it called? It was their last names, Hutch, or what was it called?
I can't think of it. I've seen every Jason movie.
I've seen it too a bunch of times.
Mean,
it's a very good movie.
That relationship was incredible. Both
and that's a spin-off. That's a spin-off of the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
it was a great movie. I'm actually I did the costume design for Too Fast, Too Furious. I actually have a documentary on the Fast and Furious series coming out on Vice TV on February 6th, and I'm like in it. I'm in this series that's working on it. But I'm also a producer, and I'm working on a bunch of movies. And now that I know that you're cool, once I have financing, I've got some cool things for him.
We only hire cool people. Okay.
Actually, that's true. Because I've worked with some people that weren't cool, and like I think when you're on a movie set, it's already stressful enough. Everybody needs to be as cool as they can be. I mean, I haven't done any. I don't do anything. I don't do anything with like AA listers. I do all the A- listers. But they've always been cool.
My next movie I'm doing soon. I'm shooting a film. I play a father to a very famous actor, and I've heard tales that he's not friendly. That he does.
But I heard that's a lie.
He does his lines and goes in the dressing room and doesn't talk to anybody. That's not good for me because if I have to play his father, I want to know him.
Yeah.
Because he gets killed in the movie, and the camera comes close to my reaction. If I don't like him and they kill him, I'll smile. But if I like the actor, it gives me the emotional motivation. So important for actors to get along on the set. Stop this bullshit with don't look at me, don't talk to me, I'm a star. Because you know what? That don't work with me.
Yeah, amen to that. You're right.
So did you ever work with anybody like that?
You don't have to tell us who.
I have. But you know who mentored me on that on the set of Flash Gordon was Max von Sydow. And
great actor.
I was trying to he gave me two very important pieces of gold advice. And the first thing he said to me, he says, Sam, I've been watching you the past couple of weeks during lunch. He said, you must stop picking up everybody's bill. You let them pay for their own lunch. He said, you need to save your money. Well, that took me about 25 years to heed those instructions, okay? But he was absolute. Now, the second bit of advice, so I wanted to return the favor one day. Remember, I'm a rookie. I'm naive. And all of a sudden, he's coming in. We just did his close-up. Now we're turning camera. And, of course, as you know, big budget movies way back then, even now, when they turn the camera, it could be 2 hours.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky.
Changing the light. Anyway, he's coming back to give me off camera. He comes back after 2 hours wearing his 60-pound Ming the Merciless, big, huge, hand-sewn, beaded, you know the whole thing that Donati did, weighed 60 pounds. And I looked at him and I said, Max, I said, thanks for coming back to give me my off camera, but you don't need to wear that. My gosh. He looked at me. I'll never forget it. He said, and it was prophetic what he said. He said, Sam, my job, an actor's job in giving the actors close up, my job is to bring the very best of you out. And I will see to it any way I choose to bring the very best of your performance out. I said, okay.
Awesome. That's a giving actor.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Then he stopped and he said, and I expect the very same thing from you. So let me tell you, what he said was prophetic. So as I went on to do other films, as you mentioned, when there was some big A-list names, half of them didn't show up for the off-camera, or if they did show up, it was best that they just stay in their dressing room. So he was very prophetic what he said.
I love it. Charles Middleton was the original Ming in the Buster Crab movies. And I thought Charles Middleton scared the hell out of me as a kid because he was a demon. Now I see Max and I thought, oh my God, he's as good as Charles Middleton. He scares you. He was wonderful as Emperor Ming.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, that face he had with that makeup and the way he looked, and Flash Gordon, you are going to the tombs. I loved it. Now Dale Arden was originally played by I forgot.
Yeah,
I forgot her name. A blonde, a lovely actress. Oh my God, I followed her for years. I always wanted to meet her. Come on, Ron, think.
Anyway, point out.
Was it Julie something?
No. Her name was I can't think. Anyway, she was I liked her when she was a blonde in the Buster Crab one. Then the next one, she was I guess a redhead because it was dark.
Yeah.
The girl that played Dale Arden, I wasn't happy with her because she was
Gene Rogers.
Gene Rogers,
of course, yeah.
I love Gene Rogers.
Melody Anderson played Dale Arden in the movie.
But I think they made her too glamorous. They made her way too theater. She wasn't Dale Arden. Dale Arden, don't forget, was a simple girl who was in love with Flash Gordon, and by mistake, she was in the rocket when it went to Mongo.
That's right.
Did you watch the Buster Crab ones ever?
Of course he did. You know, I have
them. Yes,
I have all of them.
He actually has them from back in the day.
Whole series.
So hold on, because we got 7 minutes left. Real quick. So now I forgot. First of all, you guys, if you want to follow Sam, he's on Instagram. It's The Real Sam J Jones. Make sure you put the J in there. Right. Here's something I like to ask everybody who's an actor who comes on the show. So it's a bucket list, and you've already worked with so many phenomenal people in Hollywood, but male and female that you haven't had an opportunity to work with that you would like to work with, number one. And then the second part of the question would be if you could have ever been in any movie that's ever been made, and the people could be living or dead. They don't have, and if you could have ever been in any movie that's ever been made, what movie would you have liked to been in? And then Juan wrote up Hobbs and Shaw. We forgot. I couldn't think of the name. Hobbs and Shaw. There you go. Yeah. You have such nice
upcoming actors that have been established. They need to watch that movie with Dwayne Johnson and Jason. If you want to get an idea how to really get unified and create a relationship with the other actor. It was powerful. Anyway, I've been wanting to work with Denzel Washington for years. He's incredible. Clint Eastwood. I came to Hollywood because of Clint Eastwood, meaning I read an article on him in 1976. He inspired me, and a couple weeks later, I came to Hollywood.
That's cool.
I would like to have Mel Gibson direct us, or obviously Clint. It doesn't matter. Female actors. Oh my gosh! I just saw this Irish girl who's a big star now. And See How They Run. The comedic performance of her last name is Ronan. I can't pronounce her.
Saoirse Ronan. I don't know how you pronounce her first name.
Ronan. Yeah, she was incredible. But I mean, it's
Sam. Where are you from originally?
Well, my early years were Southern Florida and a year or two in Tennessee. But I could say I'm in San Diego now for the past 18 years. But I could say California for the past 47.
But basically,
I'm from South Florida. I was
you
born
were
in
from
Miami.
Florida. Where were you from in Florida?
I spent some years in West Palm Beach.
That's where I grew up, West Palm Beach. I went to Forest Hill High School.
I went to Mira Loma.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so yes, I went to. I lived in Florida until I met him. So my first 48 years, I was in South Florida. I was a tennis player.
Oh,
in South Florida, and I'm a Gator. I went to University of Florida.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, which is fun. I love it. Okay, so wait, what movie would you have liked to have been in? If you could have been in any movie ever.
I'm trying to think of the movies that really impact. The movie with Alan Ladd, Shane.
Shane.
That impacted me. I probably would have liked to have been in the early Three Stooges. You know,
Three Stooges. Larry Moon.
I got in trouble in school a lot because the Three Stooges came. Let me see. This would have been 1968 through 72, my high school years. But the Three Stooges came on at 7 something. And right when it ended, I walked out the front door, and across the street was my school. So I walked into school with the fresh memory of the Three Stooges in my mind. Okay. And I never forget it. It was like 2 or 3 times a week. The teacher said, because I was performing that, I was reliving it. And the teacher would say to me, "Go to Dean Thornton's office." So I'd have to go visit the dean because I was
That's so funny because I watched Batman every morning before I went to school.
When I about 20 something years ago, a house was for sale in Palm Springs, and I went to look at it, and it was Moe's house. And you know what fascinated me?
What?
It was built for somebody 5'2" or 5'1". The doorways were short. The ceilings were low. And I never got over that he actually built this house to proportion his own size, because he was little. I don't think he was even 5'1" or 5'2". Yeah. And it was being sold, guess what, for $150,000 or $160,000.
Oh my goodness.
Now it's probably $1 million.
Yeah.
So whoever bought that house, boy, they made money on it.
So do you have anything coming out we should tell anybody about? We got a minute and a half left.
Yeah, it's going to be in my movie, our movie.
There's a couple of, I really love doing the independent films based on what you and I, especially what you said about actors. But I did An Unlikely Angel, and that's on Pure Flix, and that's got a really good message. It's got some great twists, some miraculous that's happening, but some really good twists too. And what else? And then I've got another I can't talk about. I'm signing it right now. So, but I love doing the independents based on our conversation, because there's no, oh, hey, Sam's in his trailer, it's too cold outside. No, I never forget. We were in Kentucky doing this film. I think it was called The Silent Natural, true story about the first deaf Major League Baseball player in America. And all of a sudden it started to snow. It wasn't scripted to snow. And the temperature dropped to 35 degrees. The sun's going down. And the director said, we have to move location to get the last shot. It's only 200 yards away. So all the actors grabbed a sandbag and a C-stand. And guess what? And we moved and we got the last shot. Okay. Now, if that was a union picture, yes.
No, not allowed.
You're not touching C-stands and sandbags.
In a union, you can't even.
No, you're totally right.
In a union, you can't even touch your costume or wig.
Yeah. Yeah.
but you
I love
get
it.
called on the carpet.
So, you guys, this is Sam Jones. Again, follow him.
Who I'm going
the
to
real
beat
Sam
up
J.
in the
Jones.
next movie we make.
Check out all of his
Oh,
work.
Sam,
Go on.
forget it.
I really want to
Wait,
thank
wait,
you.
wait. I gotta say
We got to go because we're out of time.
But he's my buddy now. I love him. Listen, Sam, how does it feel to have somebody as important as I, a fan of yours?
Yeah.
All I can say
I
is,
want
Ron,
to do this for
Ron,
you,
I
Sam.
love,
Let him talk.
I love your humility, Ron.
Oh, yes. I'm famous for that. But here, Sam, I've always wanted to do this.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank
know.
you for my Flash Gordon. It was wonderful.
Sam, thank you so much for coming on the show. We wish you all the luck, and anytime you have anything to promote, let us know, and
And
we'll
I
bring you
hope
back.
to see you very soon.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Sam.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye-bye. What a
Thank
wonderful guest.
All right, everybody. That's it for this week, you guys. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks,
Next
our
week.
guests. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sunlight can turn out to be so wrong.
Yeah, we in the mix. Yeah, we in the mix. It's another episode. Here we go. The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Interviewing the hottest, newest, and truest of today's celebrities. Make sure to subscribe so you can get notified weekly. Jimmy Star, he's the king of cool. Ron Russell, he's a gorgeous dude. Chat room is live and you would be a fool not to vibe with us at the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Come watch it live on W4CY Radio. Miss some past episodes, download on iTunes. The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. It's the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell.